Well, welcome back to the channel. It's been a couple weeks since we've done anything with the trailer, and there's a reason for that. We're actually kind of in a holding pattern right now with the trailer because that tilt deck really needs to come out of there. And we found out that it was actually constructed in the trailer. It wasn't fabricated and then put in the trailer. So it's gonna get cut out here, hopefully this week, but really that tilt deck is stopping us from gutting the back half of the trailer, which is pretty much all that's left in there for the most part. So in order to give some of you guys your semi-trailer fix, you know, at least till we can get that out, I put together something maybe a little bit different. So 2 weeks ago, as you probably know if you watch the channel, AJ and I went to RetroCon out near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But before we went to RetroCon, AJ actually came here and he got to see the trailer for the very first time in person. And we recorded his initial reaction. And for those of you who know AJ, you know, it's always interesting to hear his reaction to things. So we're gonna show you some of the footage of whenever AJ first laid his eyes on the trailer. And in some ways it might be a little bit of a recap on some of the things, but it's definitely interesting to hear his perspective on that. So we're gonna do that, but also in this video, we're gonna pivot over to something a little bit different, not related to the trailer. And it involves two iconic screen used pieces that we have from the show that we're actually bringing together into a really cool display that you are not going to want to miss. So I hope you'll stick around and let's go ahead and get going. Do you want to help with the Semi's restoration? Donate now to the Semi Restoration GoFundMe initiative or buy one of our awesome Semi Restoration Team shirts. Links are in the video description below. Well, AJ?
Well, Joe.
Are you ready to experience the Semi trailer for the first time?
In person.
In person. This is a moment we are capturing on camera the moment that AJ is going to see the trailer for the very first time.
In person.
Yes, and it's only been...
Because I do watch most of your videos.
Well, yes, you should watch them all.
I could say the same for you.
Well, that's true. Yes, you have put out a few that I haven't watched all of. But yes, we're going to get AJ's reaction to seeing the trailer for the first time. So AJ, what is your reaction?
It's big.
It's bigger in person.
It's bigger.
Yes, isn't it? You know when...
And you know we went to see that Fruhoff?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it was this big.
And maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was smaller, but I said the same thing, you know, when the tractor came, because I'm not used to being around large commercial vehicles. So when the tractor came, I thought, boy, this is big. And then the trailer shows up, I'm like, oh, I guess the tractor's not that big.
It's not that big because you look at it right here and, you know, it doesn't look all that,
mighty.
Huge.
No, it doesn't, does it?
Comparatively.
Right.
No.
It's quite small.
Yes.
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 Yes, dueling recorders.
As we should. Ah, yes. So these tires are new, of course.
Of course.
And the old ones are gone because they had nothing, they were long since replaced.
The old ones have nothing to do with the show. However, they are not gone. They are out back. We have them all. Why? I don't know. Be very careful if you crawl under there. There's probably still remnants of cacti, and they will get you.
They will get me. So, first thing I notice is this, that tube.
Yes.
Square tube. That is the first thing I notice.
And that is not in any way related to the show. That was put on there during its racing days, so that's coming out.
Okay.
But those are the original belly boxes.
You had already determined that.
Oh yeah.
And so then that ground strap that's right there.
Yeah, that comes out too.
Because that has something to do with whatever that
I believe
tube
so,
was
yeah.
used for.
Yeah.
What was the tube used for?
Boy, that's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head. I feel like the previous owner told us at one point, but I don't remember. So as you can see, I've been busy cutting out all of the incorrect stuff.
So
this
there really were, I don't remember because I haven't looked at the picture closely, but there were no boxes on this side.
No, not at all.
There were on the other side.
Yeah, those are the original boxes.
Those are the original boxes.
But this stuff needs to come off. All of this comes off. I just did the easy stuff with the Sawzall. Now this is the tedious stuff where you have to get in and grind welds but yeah, all this has to come off. This is original. This comes off. And of course, if you look at the boxes under there, you can see where the original belly box structure is and where they tack welded on some additional angle iron. See all this? That all needs to come out. These have to come out.
Of course.
Yes, those were holding on the skirting.
Now, these are brake line air hoses?
Let me see. I don't know. Those might be they're either that or the hydraulic lines for the tilt deck. I'd have to trace the lines. I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh.
We'll get there.
The thing in the ceiling.
The thing in the ceiling.
The thing in the ceiling.
We'll get there.
All right. So before I go any further, congratulations, Joe. You have taken a whole new meaning to full pursuit to semi.com.
Which no longer exists. But thank you.
That was only 25 years ago?
It was a long time ago.
25?
It was, I'd say, closer to 20. But still, it was decades ago. Decades ago.
Only 25 years ago.
Only 25 years ago.
Yes.
So I do want to point out, before you look down there.
Before I look down there.
Let's look at the gold.
It's a little higher up than when you texted this to me.
Of course.
It's way up there.
I was on a ladder.
It's awfully shimmery in person.
It is, isn't it? That's what I thought too.
It has a...
It has like a metallic to it.
Well, it's definitely a metallic, and you can see where it had pulled up a bit, so it was, a quick and dirty paint job, and why would you need it to be any better than that?
Exactly. That's what you'd expect.
That's what I would expect. Yeah. So we have a flag, and what was that hole with the duct tape?
So those were outlets. There's 3 of them across here.
Yeah.
Those were not for flags. They were supports for a canopy that used to be out across here.
Yes, and of course I've seen the pictures with the canopy, so I now can picture exactly what you speak of, and they just look like they're for flags.
Right.
When they have nothing else to go along with them. Okay.
The reason those aren't out is because I need one person on the inside to hold the nut while
Well, you happen to have one person.
Yes, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. And thankfully, I found an expert fabricator that tells me he can weld all of these holes on the aluminum panels closed. So where the outlets were, where the air conditioner was, we're not gonna have to replace the panels. He can patch those up, he says, which is awesome. So let's walk around. What else would you like to see?
Just the whole thing, baby.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. The all too reflective, not correct back door.
Correct. That is incorrect. Correct.
All too reflective.
Too reflective, not correct.
That is all too reflective, all right.
And you know what's interesting? Earlier in the year when the sun was coming down, you can't see it now, but the light was hitting this door in such a way that you could see a ghost image right up there and right over there. In fact, I started tracing what I could right there with marker. You see that? There was another ghost image here, and it actually revealed the name of another previous owner of the trailer that we hadn't known about.
That's not the same logo as this?
I don't know, it might be, but it's smaller. That's all. It could be, but there's additional words right here that you can't see. Okay. But there's a name, and you can't see it at all right now with this light, but there's a name like right here. It's Spike something, I forget. Yeah, he was a previous owner as well. I reached out and talked to him briefly.
Huh. Yeah. Ah, yes.
There's some original black for you. There was a piece of sheet metal covering this.
I remember seeing you take that off.
Yes.
And explaining what will and will not happen with that.
Yes, it's inside. I'll let you document it as needed. But take a look at this.
I think you've got it covered pretty well.
Yeah, I think I do too. Look at the dent right there.
Well.
And that might be why that piece was on there.
Do we know where this came from?
No, we don't. It's too low to be anything like them hitting the Trans Am off the side or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's not too low to back into a, you know, a cement.
Yes, I'm sure they backed into something.
Or loading dock or another truck.
Right.
An accident. That can happen.
And perhaps one of my favorite things is the crease on the side. Do you see that? You see the crease? Which you can see all the way back in season 1. Do you see it?
Yes, I do see the crease.
Did I ever tell? I don't think we revealed the story on the channel about how that crease came about.
No.
So you don't know.
And I don't know.
Oh, this is going to be good. You're going to love this story. So you remember Steve Whiteside?
Very well.
All right.
Very well.
So Steve reached out to us after he found our video on the trailer.
Yes.
And Eric had a conversation with him. And Eric asked him about the crease in the side of the trailer. He's like, was it from a stunt or something? Because it's been there since the first season. And Steve said, or no, Steve said, I laughed whenever I heard you talk about the crease. I was there the day that happened. And Eric said, was it part of a stunt or something? He said, no, someone backed it into an awning at the back lot at the studio. So that's where that crease came from, right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, then how come Steve isn't our best contact for how the mechanics?
We talked to him about that. He doesn't recall. We asked him all about that. He didn't recall the details.
I can't imagine you'd not ask.
Yes.
Yes.
So if we come back over here.
Back over here.
So obviously this panel is not original. The tail lights are actually up here. They should be up here.
Yeah, that looks right.
Yeah. And in fact, there's 2 lights and there was a reflector here. But I don't know if that's the original reflector.
So then were these surface mount?
No, there were holes in them. But the problem is, you'll see when we lower the gate, they cut. This panel should be 10 inches tall from here to here. So you can see how much they cut. And when they cut out where the holes were for these.
The holes were above what it is now.
Correct. So
it's a storage box in someone's backyard, Joe.
It was for the last 10 years or so, yeah. And then, of course, down here we've got the hydraulic pump for the tilt deck, which is, by the way, getting cut out in about 3 weeks.
So what's with this whole thing down here?
This was a cubby for storage.
Was it always here?
Not on the show.
No, I didn't think so.
No, on the show. This was gone, this was all gone. This is original. This triangle is original, right here. So it went down here, all of this was added.
All right, and you can actually see, that's a spot weld done to join this, or was this factory as well?
No, that's not factory.
But this is?
That's factory.
But this isn't?
Correct.
I mean, it's so hard to tell.
I know, but it's true.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yellow.
So these were snaps for the awning.
Okay.
So there were snaps in here. I had to drill them out. Underneath them was yellow, but I think that's just like a plastic washer that has adhered itself to the... But these snaps, this is all the original black paint underneath these snaps. It's a...
Ah!
Because
nice!
the awning was put on when when it was still black.
When it was still black.
And when they soda blasted it, they didn't take the...
This protected. Yeah. So there's more than just that.
Oh, there's a little bit more on the front too.
Okay, good. And of course, you have a plan for preserving those few spots.
Well, those ones might be tricky. The back ones are easy. Those ones might be tricky. But
okay.
Right now, I'm just winging it.
As you should.
The stairs obviously are not original.
Oh no. But we have no idea what actually would be, because we would never have seen the stairs in the show.
Right. In fact, it's odd because in the show, you never saw the side door open. Never. Yet today, that's the only way you get in and out. It's used all the time now.
Well, I'm sure it was used then by the crew.
Well, yes, it was. So obviously this window needs to come out. These, you can see the original rivets versus the aluminum rivets versus the steel rivets, design and material.
Right, yes.
They had a ladder here. And when we got it, the ladder was only on the top half, but once I removed the generator, I found mounts that indicate the ladder was the whole way down at one point. So before they had the generator on, they put a ladder in the whole way up.
So is there any pink left in the logo?
No, it was soda blasted. I haven't taken it down yet because...
Behind the rivets, you might find some pink.
Yes.
Dorsey pink.
Yes, that's true. But here you can see there's some original black right there.
Oh, yes.
And take a look at this. See all the paint around that rivet, but see how these rivets are cleaner? Meaning you can tell the paint's been stripped off of these, but not these. See how thick it is?
Yeah. Yes, I can. Around the edges. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I get that. Okay. The magic tag.
The one I spent so many hours trying to read from screenshots is right there.
Well, you did it. Does it match?
No, well, I never actually read it on the show, but...
well, you came close.
Yeah, I found it was 6 digits, which helped quite a bit, but yes.
But
it matches the paperwork.
It
matches the paperwork we got from the place that sold it to the studio. So.
Actually, Eric told me about a discrepancy with that.
Yes, but it's been resolved now. The police came out here and resolved it.
Well, that wasn't the end of the story.
Oh, okay.
We need to get Eric on camera telling the story, and I hope he can be as animated on camera as he was with me in person.
Okay.
He's hilarious when he tells the story.
I didn't think it was that funny. I mean, it was just a...
The way he tells the story is far funnier than the story.
And here are your original belly boxes.
Thank you.
Now, this needs to come off. All of this needs to come off, but this is original right here.
Okay, but this needs to come off.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the doors here, there were originally just quarter turn handles there, and they cut out those rectangles to put in latches. So those need filled back in. But of course, there's the original, there's a pull handle right there, and there's the original.
Huh? Is it pressboard or plywood?
I think it's plywood.
But that has an awfully papery...
Well, you have to remember that mice had lived in here for decades, and they peed in here and they pooped in here. It was disgusting. It was totally terrible.
We're no stranger to this.
No, but I'm done with that after this. This one was...
We're no stranger to that.
Between this and the tractor,
You're done.
I'm done with that. So these are original. There's 2 loops, and I think they would just tie a cable to hold the doors open. Something like that, but you can see those in the show.
Nice.
And of course, my favorite is the imperfection here. That whenever they were constructing this door, and they, cut the aluminum at an angle, so they had to splice that piece in.
And we love imperfections like that you can see in the show. That that are very unique
yes.
to this one trailer.
Exactly. So you see Devin just walking along right here, and you can see it right there.
And that's
in
how
the background.
That's how Devin walks.
Yes, just like this.
Just like this.
Yes, just like that. Just like that. There's the 3 bolts. The header, the 3 bolts on the header right there.
Your push is attacking me.
Yes, it does that.
The 3 bolts.
I noticed the one on the right is a little bent.
Yeah, I saw. And,
yeah,
and
which you saw in the video, right? See, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Nothing you don't know.
Well, there's stuff I don't know.
And of course, the wonderful, wonderful bolts which gave it away. Initially. Initially. There's some more black paint right there underneath that sticker.
Because the sticker was put on before it was soda.
Yes. But see, this was me. Thankfully, because of the rivets, I could tell exactly where the stripes were. Top stripe there, bottom stripe here. So I started doing some wet sanding right here to see if it truly was gold or a decal. And of course I got down to the aluminum right there. So I'm 99% sure the decals, they were decals and not paint. But did you know, I mean, again, you don't realize it till it's here. The shield on the side was 4.5 feet tall. It was giant. And you don't realize it until you start counting the rivets and
of course,
drawing it out.
It's not like you ever stand here in person. Quite frankly, it's a bit like standing by the Hoff in person. When you realize how tall he is.
Yes, exactly.
Until you stand next to him in person, you just don't know.
That's right. You got it.
How tall he is.
You got it. Well, would you like to go inside?
Well, we have a plan for that.
Alrighty then. Oh, it's an interesting odor. You have to experience that in person.
It's not bad. It's
No,
not offensive.
well, no, it's not bad or offensive.
But it's very distinct.
It is, and I'm glad you noticed that.
I immediately noticed this.
I'm glad you
I
noticed it.
notice odors on all kinds of things.
Yes,
And they're very powerful.
yes, absolutely. There's a battery charger up there.
And
Don't worry, that's not important.
let's not worry about it. Well, okay, but I'm going to pay attention to everything until you tell me I shouldn't. Wait, these aren't white.
No, they're not. They're tan.
Interesting. Of course, you do.
Black and tan, how about that? Just like the trailer
How
was.
about that?
Yeah.
Now, is that the factory Dorsey floor?
Factory Dorsey floor is wood. It's back, what you see back there.
So then that was added as
Yes. Yeah, that was added at some point.
But you have no idea when.
No.
It could have been for studio use.
It could have been.
It could have been.
We don't know, unless I find a date on the back of the linoleum. Which is
That's
interesting.
highly unlikely.
Well, all the plywood is dated 1994. So I've been able to date when all this stuff was put in, because the plywood's 1994. October of 94, something like that.
Okay. Honestly, I hope you're saving this linoleum, because this is cool.
Well, I might say, I'm probably not going to save the whole thing, because look what we run into here.
Yeah,
Some of it was exposed, but then this was all glued down, there's cement board, and then tile on top. So I'm probably not going to save the whole thing, but I will probably save a good chunk of it.
Well, the part you don't want to save, just toss it in my car or truck.
All right.
And you know where it'll go.
Fine. You have a
Fine.
deal.
Because this seems like we should pay it,
Okay.
give it some special place.
Well, in that case, I won't cut it up. I'll just roll it up and keep it whole for you.
Thank you.
Okay. I know how this works.
Yes, you do know how this works.
Yes.
Yes, you do know how this works.
So this is the lounge.
Yeah, but it's not the lounge.
But it will be the
But
lounge.
not the lounge, right?
It will be the lounge.
Because that lounge was on stage 1.
Right. Soon to be in here. Well, not soon, but one day.
Okay, it's good to see this in person.
I really want to have a good conversation with you about that.
Yeah. Let's flip this over.
Look, you just broke
you
it.
just broke it.
Nice job. Look at that, you put a hole in it. Take the shirt off. You're not a historian anymore.
It's true. I've been demoted.
Before you climb up there, there's one thing I want your thought on. And this was revealed in my last video regarding this mysterious line here. You see it? See this right here?
Yes, I do.
All right. Look at how closely it lines up with the bolts. What does that tell you? Does it tell you anything? People have suggested there was like a false wall here or something to reinforce the trailer for whatever stress that was putting on it. Because you can see here, all these bolts were cut. You can tell that they were cut off. So that, I almost think something ran across.
Well, what I think is it's worthy of paying attention to.
Yeah.
But we're far, far from coming to any conclusion.
Agreed.
Oh, so far.
Yes. All right, now you can get a ladder and go up there if you want.
So, you can step on it and not break it. But when I step on it, I break it. Because I'm just that much heavier than you are. I know.
No, it's because I am the caretaker of the trailer, and it knows that I'm bringing it. You're a stranger to it, so you have to get to know it, and then it'll be kind to you. I don't know.
It is very deep in here.
Yes. Do not lose these nails. Those are the original nails that hold the plywood on back there. So just be careful those don't fall off.
Original Knight Rider nails.
Night nails.
Well, you sent me pictures of the trolley wheel that you believe goes in here.
Possibly, yes.
But, just pulling on this, you realize that it's not going to be very good at supporting downward weight.
Correct.
For sure. Now, that doesn't look like it was recently cut.
I don't think that was ever cut. And if you look on the rib behind you, there's no evidence there's no mounting holes on this rib going above you, right here.
Yeah.
There's no holes there. So I think that's where that started.
Right, and then continued on.
Yes, the other end was definitely cut, which you can see. And I mean, there's evidence. You can see it went all the way down past that white bracing where the winch is down there.
Yeah.
And then stopped right where the 3 bolts are. That's where that stopped.
Where the 3 bolts
right before that.
This is very much a mystery. So how is this attached?
That's welded.
This is welded.
That's welded. I believe that is welded right there, but every other one it's only bolted in, which tells me there's no weight. There was no weight on it down here, but there was weight on something
I
right
see
there.
a bolt here.
But I think I think that's welded too, isn't it? Or at least the bracket.
No.
No, look, the bracket is welded to the unistrut right there.
Here?
No, right? The bracket.
You're talking this.
Yeah, go down. Down, right there.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, I'm on the wrong side of it.
Yeah. But then just bolted everywhere else.
So there's a hole up here. Have you seen it?
Probably.
Daylight through here.
Oh, that's the least. When it rains, this thing drips like a sieve. There's a lot of holes. That's not a concern. But yes.
All right. Where'd that one come from? Now you're breaking it.
That's the tile underneath. I don't see the hole from down here.
Yeah, I suppose you can't from this angle, but daylight comes right through.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just one of the many holes in the ceiling.
And who knows where it came from? No one knows.
No, but honestly, it probably could have come from stress from whatever they had here. It's right on that rib. Right there.
Interesting. Okay.
And I just think it's neat that now we know the reason why the 2 vents in the ceiling were off center. It's because of that strut. You can see that now, right? Why else would they put one of these openings on one side and one on the other side,
having them both in the middle?
Right, and that's why. And now we know because Dorsey has told the guy who sold these doors, he said those were not put in by the factory. Those were added later.
They never existed.
They didn't exist from Dorsey.
From Dorsey.
But we see them on the trailer in the show early first season, like when the trailer's white. So they've been there.
All right, and which one? The Hoff climbs out of the middle one.
Yeah, that one down there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Garth!
Yes.
You won't get away with this, Garth! Let me out of here!
That's an accurate reenactment. That's original paint.
I'm careful with it. Do we have a baggie so we can bag and tag it?
I do not currently have a baggie, no. Just set it right here with the nails very carefully and we'll take care of it. There you go. Excellent work. No, don't do that again.
Don't do that again! It's not the first original anything and used in Knight Rider I've taken a piece of paint from. You know this, right?
I know.
It's not the first.
I know.
And let's hope it won't be the last.
Yes. So you're thinking maybe it wouldn't have been a trolley, but more of a guide for wires or a chain?
No, there's no need for it to be a guide for wires. I mean,
but if it's
there's a lot of weird things about this.
But if it's a trolley, and it's designed in such a way that there wouldn't be downward force, just horizontal force of the pulling and pushing, you know what I mean? But still, when you think about just having that bolted on the ribs there, and that's it.
I don't know.
That's not the right answer.
Of course it's not the right answer. I don't know yet.
That's slightly better.
Yet.
Slightly better.
It's not like I'm not going to focus on it for another 5,000-10,000 hours. I can obsess over that just like I do so many other things.
Excellent.
That's what you want.
Yes.
You know what my friend Yuri has explained about me, which vicariously means you too. He said, you have weaponized OCD.
I like that.
Weaponized.
Yes.
Your obsessive compulsive disorder has become weaponized. You have weaponized it.
Be sure to take a peek at our exclusive merch, not found anywhere else, like our Knight Rider historians and semi-restoration team branded apparel, along with our line of Garthwear, trademark pending. T-shirts, hoodies, even coffee mugs in a variety of colors and styles to suit every taste. Your purchase directly supports this channel and helps us to continue bringing you awesome content. View the merch below this video and click on the link in the description for our entire catalog. Today we've got kind of an exciting video, a culmination of a lot of kind of behind the scenes work on putting together a proper display for a really, really iconic original prop from the show. It's one you've seen on this channel before. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about this right here. So let me bring it forward. This is really, really cool. Take a look at this. A friend of ours, his name's Lucas Johnson, he surprised us with this at RetroCon a couple weeks ago. It's made out of wood and it's laser engraved. It is so neat. I'm so excited to have it. So you'll see it in future videos kind of hanging back here. Let's see if I can hang it back up without, there we go, sort of. There we go. So really, really cool. Thank you so much, Lucas. And thanks for all of your help at RetroCon. All right, so some of you guys might remember the video we did on this guy, right? And if you didn't see the video, this is an original scanner bar from the show, but its history is more than that, right? This scanner bar was literally saved from the crusher after the fateful wrecking ball day when the remaining Knight Rider cars, the ones that needed to be crushed, had their wrecking balls dropped on them. They went to a salvage yard, and a man named Julius Inglima was responsible for disposing of them further. And before he did, he pulled this scanner bar off, saved it for 30 years, donated it to us. So cool. This is from the Roll Cage acrylic window jump car. This scanner did more turbo boosts than probably any other scanner bar. If you want to see the interview with Julius and the video on the scanner bar, there's a link right now in the corner of this video. You definitely want to check it out. All right, so we got this scanner bar, right? Okay, so then I wanted to show you guys this. This is an original scanner controller for KITT. This specific one was used actually pretty much in only the 4th season. So they had, the original scanner design, which we're going to do a whole video dedicated to that in the future. But if you remember way back in the pilot of Knight Rider and in the first few episodes, sometimes whenever KITT scanner would turn on, you see the all-on effect. Sometimes you see a few different patterns. That was a uniquely built scanner and scanner circuitry. Once the show really got into production, Universal Studios made their own scanners that were simply on-off with the pattern, and you could change the speed. So in early 1985, these scanners were created because they were having a lot of problems with the ones that Universal built, with malfunctioning and different things like that. So someone that worked at Universal Studios came in and redesigned them, and this is one of his. This would have been used exclusively in the 4th season. All the cars got these style boxes. We actually got this box back in 2018 from this person. He's become a friend of ours, and based on some markings on this box, we were able to deduce that this came from the hardtop stunt car, the hardtop stunt car, which I call the hardest working Knight Rider car in the fleet. This car was around since middle of 1st season, lasted the whole way through to the end of the series, sat outside at Universal for at least 3 years after the show ended. After the Wrecking Ball, then the car disappeared. I always say if there's still one surviving screen-used Knight Rider car out there, it's the one that this box came from. So he gave us this box in 2018. We got this scanner bar, was that last year? And we're thinking, well, what are we going to do with these parts, right? We don't want to mount the scanner bar in a car because, at this point, this is an artifact, right? And to put it on a car that's going to experience, heating and cooling cycles, especially with 55-watt halogens that will occasionally need washed. We didn't want the patina already on here to get worse. It's steel. We didn't want it to rust more. So we made the decision, this is not going to go back into a car, all right? Originally, we were going to put this controller in one of the cars, but then we got to thinking, maybe it makes sense. Maybe we should build a really cool display, a working display where this controller from the hardtop stunt car will control the scanner from the Roll Cage acrylic window jump car, right? So there's one other missing piece of this, and that's this box. This is not an original. This is a recreation of the relay pack that would drive the halogens. So, and some of you guys might recognize the connection on there, if you KITT versus car fans, right? But so we're going to build a display. Actually, I've already kind of built the display off camera, but we're going to assemble this whole thing, fire it up, and just kind of see how our display looks. I think it's going to be really cool, and it's going to be something neat that we can put in our office and just kind of stare at it as the scanner scans. So let's get going. So before we get into the actual meat of this scanner display project, I have an addendum to make. We've had this scanner controller for over 4 years now, and when we initially received it, it wasn't quite working. The on-off switch and the speed controller knobs were missing, so we had to do a little bit of work. We sourced the 100% correct missing pieces, but it wasn't until very recently that I was able to get AJ in a room focused on this project to diagnose and repair the scanner controller. He is much, much, much better at repairing something of this nature than I am, and I definitely want to make sure he was doing it and not me. So if you know AJ, you know he filmed the entire repair process. And if you're interested in seeing that entire repair process, consider joining our Patreon community where you can find the entire unedited video of the repair. I've included a few small excerpts of his footage here in this video as well.
This is one of the original chips that you need to, you know, if it's bad, we can confirm that it's bad, then this needs to be properly preserved.
Excellent.
Excellent. So, now let me make sure I get the polarity right. These sockets are not obvious where the polarity is.
Maybe you should have looked before you pulled the other chip out.
Yeah, maybe I should have. Maybe I should at least close some relays if that's the reason, right?
Okay.
So power here. We don't have power here yet. Of course, it's actually just the ground that it shuts off. So nothing. We're dead. Why are we dead? Interesting. Okay, so we're going to try the Hoffnose controller right now. Well, the Hoffnose Scanner 5B works.
I would expect it to.
So, but that's a good baseline. Now this is a little funky here.
Oh yeah.
Do you want me to fix it?
I can take care of it, or we can fix it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. This one has the detent design is different than this, where you feel the detent, but it's inside, and here you see the detent.
Yeah.
It's outside. Here's all the chips that came out.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 chips. There they are.
All right.
Those are all original chips. These should all be original chips, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, I only want to do a visual. So, the Hoffnose screws we're going to put next to the not Hoffnose chips. Think we can keep track of it?
I think we'll be all right.
I think we'll be all right. Well, it's your shop, so you're not going to let me do anything foolish, right?
That's right.
Yeah. That's how that works. By the way, is this a new cover? Because it's a very different color.
Yeah, he didn't, when we got it, he didn't have a cover for us.
Okay.
So
that explains it.
Yep.
Interestingly, it matches this better.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
See, that's
you're right.
mismatched.
That should be over there. That's funny.
Well, I don't know that it should be, but...
Well, clearly yeah, that was probably an older model. Who knows? But.
Interesting. Really?
You had it in backwards.
But that doesn't make sense.
All right, so excuse my very messy desk. I've got stuff here, grinders for the semi trailer that I'm using and parts from the semi. It's just a potpourri of a mess. So off camera, I built this display. And it's still, I painted it, but it's a little rough. My goal is I want to get maybe some aluminum panels to cover the front and the sides, just to give it a more kind of industrial look. But I got this idea from the same person that gave us that scanner controller. He owns another original scanner, and he built a display very similar to this. So I wanted to pay homage to that, I guess, or I thought it was a really great idea. So I'm kind of recreating it. So the scanner controller will go in that hole there. The scanner bar is going to mount on the top. And then as we turn it around, you can see it's open in the back. This is where we're going to put the relay box and where we're going to put the power supply so, you know, it can all run. So literally we'll just be able to plug it in, hit the switch, and it should start scanning if everything goes according to plan. All right, so step one is mounting the scanner bar. Now, these scanner bars were mounted to the car via these holes. These are original holes. Big one on top, small one on bottom. We got an extra hole over here. I'm not sure what that's for, but what I did is I put these little oak standoffs, I guess you could say, here, and I measured and I got them so they would line up with the original factory holes, because obviously we're not putting any more holes in this. We want to keep this exactly as it was. So let's go ahead and first we'll get the scanner bar mounted on here. So I found some good screws and some washers that will not damage the scanner. So let's get that. Got to get the washer centered there, make it look good. And I'm not going to put much pressure on those. I don't want much pressure on those, just enough to hold it down. And if I did this right, which I think I did, excellent. Now, before I tighten this screw down here, I do need to hook up the ground wire, because on these units, the bar itself needs to be grounded. Normally it's grounded to the car, but obviously we have to run a grounding wire here. So this will should go right under here. Come on, there we go. Okay, so we got the scanner bar mounted, and I also mounted this grounding wire because the original bars were grounded. Originally they were grounded to the car, but we have seen evidence in some cars that they also had a grounding wire as well, maybe just to provide that extra bit of connectivity between the bar and the car itself. So this is exactly how the grounding wire would have been connected to the bar on the show whenever it was in a car. So we're going to do the exact same thing here. All right, next step. So we've got this I built this custom harness here that will plug into the bulbs here. This will plug into the relay box, and then we've got our power and ground here to provide, well, power and ground. So we're going to go ahead and get this plugged in. Now, whenever we got the bar, only 2 of the bulbs were working. So I got in here and I cleaned all the contacts, and I was able to get 7 out of the 8 bulbs working. One of them is, in fact, burnout, this second one in from the left. So, you know, I toyed with leaving it alone, but it's just not going to look good with one bulb out. So we are going to replace the bulb with a new bulb, and we'll save the old bulb, of course, but it's probably for the best to make it so the display looks good. So we have to, these bulbs have these nubs here, and those nubs need to come off, and I found the best way to do that is to actually just put them in the vise and flatten them. So let's do that. Okay, there's one. And 2. So you can see those nubs are nice and flat. I was careful not to touch the glass there, so let's go over and let's get that installed. All right, so it was this bulb here. So let's go ahead and carefully undo these screws. And the bulb actually has blue silicone around it, probably to seal it from moisture or whatever, but let's see here. There you go. There's one of the original bulbs. It's funny because you look at it, it doesn't necessarily look burnout, but it is. I've tried everything. It does not work. So we'll compare. You can see the new versus the old, pretty much identical, which is good. That's what we want. So we're going to take this off of here, and it looks like it goes on, yeah, just like that. All right, so get the new one screwed on. Let's get that started here. All right. I'll line it up. The nice thing is there's imprints where the old one was, so I can line it up exactly. There we go. Now, we do need to bend this tab down because all of the, let me get my pliers here. For some reason, all of these were bent down, like so. So let's do that. There we go. And we'll plug that in, and hopefully that'll be the end of that. We'll save this probably in here with the actual scanner. All right, we got that done. So what's next? I want to, let's see here, secure this stuff down, but maybe I'll wait a minute. All right, so we've got our power supply. Here's our relay box. So maybe let's turn this around. All right, so this part I haven't quite figured out. I mean, I do know that the controller is going to go in this slot, and I have these brackets in here so it fits in, slides right in real nice, right? So this is the wiring harness for this piece. So let's go ahead, let's plug this in. Okay, so we've got that. Now we've got to figure out how we want the rest of this to go. So I'm thinking the relay box is going to sit in, oh, I have that backwards. The relay box needs to go this way. So we're going to slide the relay box in here. And then this gets connected together. So that's that, and obviously we'll, you know, we're gonna have to zip tie and clean up all of that wiring, but we'll do that here in a bit. So we got that. This harness then needs to curl around and plug in to this side of the relay. There we go. So we've got the relay box plugged in. Now the question is, do we have room for our power supply here? So right now we're just kind of mocking stuff up, but I'm thinking the power supply, does this need any, no, the vent is on the top, so that's good. So So I think if we do something, oh, that's actually going to work out, I think, pretty nice in terms of making it all nice and compact, because that's everything we need. So the only thing we have to do now, really, is plug these into the inverter. Is that it? Or not the inverter, the power supply. Obviously the grounding strap as well. Then we can fire it up. Wow. Of course, we're gonna have to secure this stuff in here because we don't want it sliding out, but coming along. All right, so I didn't want to bore you with me cleaning up wiring and whatnot, but I got all this zip tied in. I got everything kind of placed where it needs to go. The power supply, I got in there. I put a little bumper in here to hold it in place. Let's see, the controller box, you know, originally it could slide back out. I just put a zip tie around here and that holds it in place so it doesn't fly out. But of course we got a bracket here to kind of clean up the wiring in the back. So, you know, this thing is ready to test, right? So let's see what happens. All right, step one. Plug it in. You hear the power supply turn on. Let's see what happens. All right, so original controller, original scanner bar. Now, you guys are gonna ask me about that, right? So, when AJ and I were, well, actually AJ, I was just there for, you know, window dressing. But when AJ and I were putting this together, you know, testing, getting this box repaired, we found when we use the power supply, that relay like sticks on sometimes. But whenever we have it hooked up to a battery, it doesn't stick on. So, but the power supply, it's 30 amp. It should be able to handle, I mean, it can handle this no problem. So, got to figure that out. Why that one sticks on only on the power supply, but not on a battery itself. But other than that, it works. It sounds great. Hopefully you can hear the clicking. Let me get a little closer. Hear that beautiful, beautiful clicking? So, like I said, I still want to put, got to figure that out. Aluminum, maybe cover this in aluminum, give it more of an industrial look. But look at that. For the first time in decades, right? Roll cage, acrylic window, jump car, scanner bar, hardtop stunt car, controller, alive again. Isn't that cool? Let's speed it up. Oh yeah. Slow her down. Let's see, what's the good speed? That's a good speed. Man, I wish that bulb would not just stay on. All right, guys. Well, with this, I think we'll let you go. More to come on this. Once we get that figured out, once we get the panels on and get it really finished up, we'll do another video. But hey, that's a really, really cool display piece. All right, guys. As always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you later.